This is Matt DeBoer and Mike Trimborn, and our presentation is about encryption. Is it for you? In the overview, we're going over the basic encryption lexicon, the history of encryption, cryptography and ciphers, the two basic forms of encryption, which are symmetric key and public key encryption, and different encryption algorithms. We'll also be going over handshaking, the Diffie-Hellman key agreement, SSL, VPN, IPsec, and we'll have a demo at the end showing basic encryption through email. Now, basic definitions. We have encryption, which is the method used to turn data into a seemingly random stream of bits. We have the plain text, which is the raw data of the message that needs encrypting, ciphertext, which is encrypted plain text, and decryption, the method used to turn the ciphertext back into plain text. That's encryption in a nutshell. A couple more things you'll have to know is a cipher, which is a mathematical process used in encryption and the decryption process, and the key, which is a string of bits needed to be kept secret by parties involved to keep data securely encrypted. Now on to the history of cryptography. Cryptography has existed for millennia. Pretty much if someone had some text they wanted to keep secret, they devised some way to keep it secret from other people. Now we're going to focus mainly on modern cryptography here, with the beginning of the Enigma machine, which was used by the Nazis in World War II to encrypt messages. It was deemed incrackable for the longest times until the Polish cracked it in 1939. Now the major symmetric key encryption methods, which this is a couple decades in the future, is RRC4, DES, and AES. Now DES stands for Data Encryption Standard. It was created in 1976. It was only 56 bits. It's not used anymore, and it has been cracked. That's why. It was cracked multiple times by multiple people, faster and faster every time. Now we have 3 DES, which is still used, kind of. It's used by applying the DES encryption 3 times, one over the other over the other. It's a very strong form of encryption, but it's not used widely because it's a memory hog for the most part. And then there's a RC4, which is still used today. It's designed in 1987. Could be from anywhere from 40 bits in length to a maximum of 2048 bits in length. It's still used widely, and it's a 128-bit version. Now there's AES, which is like the golden boy. He's well used still. Comes in a 128-bit, 192-bit, and 256-bit key length. Now, to put it in perspective, 256-bit AES encryption has 1.15792 times 10 to the 77 different combinations. It would take 50 of our modern supercomputers 3 times 10 to the 51 years to exhaust all of the combinations. So, it's pretty secure. Okay, now for some basic forms of encryption, which we'll start off with symmetric key encryption, which utilizes the aforementioned RC4, DES, and AES encryptions. It's if two parties that want to share information securely, they use the same key to encrypt and decrypt. That means two parties, one guy creates the key and he sends the key over to the other guy using different methods. And they both use this key to share information. And the key is usually obtained by the other party by use of a hashing algorithm. Now, this is the more secure way of encryption nowadays. It's called public key encryption, and all users in public key encryption have 2 keys, one public and one private. Now, you never reveal your private key to anyone. You can encrypt with it, but never give it to anyone. And everyone knows your public key, and all public keys that are widely used on the internet are kept on databases, and you can access them however you please. Now, the normal use of a public key encryption is to encrypt with your friend's public key, and they decrypt with their private key. That's pretty much the basics of public key encryption. It can be used the other way around, in which You encrypt with your private key and send it to the other person, and they decrypt with your public key. There, you're not trying to keep anything safe, you're just letting them know that's you, because only your keys will work with each other for the most part. Okay, I'm going to hand over the microphone to Mike now, and he's going to get into the meat and potatoes of encryption now.
Handshaking is broken down into 3 stages. Stage 1 is the negotiation of security parameters. The handshaking begins here by both parties agreeing upon the common terms and conditions. In SSL TLS, this is called the cipher suites. Stage 2 is authentication. Here, both parties prove their identification through the use of certificates or digital signatures. Signatures also double as integrity by ensuring that if the message is in any way altered, it will be rejected. Stage 3 is the key exchange. Here, both parties exchange their keys for encryption. With both sides authenticated and secure, confidential messages can be sent. In SSL TLS, these stages can be shown in 9 simple steps shown here. The Diffie-Hellman key agreement is a public key cryptography using the algorithm x prime equals g to the x mod p, where x is a randomly generated private number for each party. Once calculated, each party sends its x prime to the other. Without the original hidden number, this new number is useless, and thusly not a potential vulnerability. With the newly acquired x prime in hand, each party uses the same algorithm again, only now switching out the g in its place. The final formula is now the same for each party. This is now the newly created key, done in secret, and can now be used to transfer encrypted messages. The Diffie-Hellman key agreement is a fast alternative to the traditional public key encryption and is a very safe process. However, due to its unique mathematical nature, it may not be for everyone to attempt. It also has a major flaw in that there is no initial authentication check, and that if your original message is intercepted and you are given a number from the interceptor, there is no way to prove that you are communicating with the correct party. VPNs, or virtual private networks, are a common sight these days. They provide a trusted connection across LANs and WANs through the internet. This provides a simple and cheap alternative to having your own physical private line to connect said networks. The most common VPN standard as of now is the Secure Sockets Layer / Transport Layer Security, more commonly referred to as SSL TLS. SSL TLS works at the transport layer, where it can protect all application layer traffic between the two SSL TLS connections. It is inexpensive, being on most PCs already or through simple downloads, and allows for remote access to almost any PC or network with proper authentication by both parties. The alternative to SSL TLS is the Internet Protocol Security, or IPsec. IPsec is used by firms who need the strongest VPN security available. By operating in the network layer, it protects all packets between the hosts, but does so at a much higher cost and installation, making it an expensive alternative only used when absolute security is needed. Being in the network layer, it also must bypass normal firewall security measures, so the connection being made must be authenticated some other way, as each host can send malicious content at will.
Okay, here we go with the demo. It's a very easy use of public key encryption through email, and it was going to be a video, but Cam Studio did not agree with my computer at all, in very many ways and shapes and forms. Either way, I had an email sent to two dummy accounts, and this message is sent through encryption enabled by Enigmail and PGP. As you can see in that picture, I have me sending it to a dummy account, which also is controlled by me, and when I open the email, it asks for the passphrase needed to open the email for the dummy account using the dummy account's password, and when I do that, it opens, perfectly works. Now when I send it to the eavesdropper account, nothing happens, and I can't open the email. All the eavesdropper would get is this garbled message, which would be very hard to decipher on their part. And that concludes the demo.